Ladies and gentlemen, podcasting since 2005. You're listening to Gamertag Radio. With your hosts, podcaster Hall of Famer Danny Peña, the always opinionated Paris Lilly, and from outside of the norm, Peter Toledo. This is Gamertag Radio.
Welcome to Gamertag Radio episode 1124. This is your host, Danny. And also, there's no Pete, there's no Paris, it's just me. But we're going to have a special guest here. Mandy, a.k.a. Lady Luck, is going to be joining me to talk about Pokémon Snap. It's going to be a 30-minute or so review about the game. And this game came out a couple days ago for Nintendo Switch. So thank you to Nintendo of America for sending us a review code to talk about it here on Gamertag Radio. But first, head over to gamertagradio.com, post your comments and feedback, listen to our past episodes, and please, whenever you get the chance, spread the word to your friends, family members. Let them know about GTR. It will help us out so much. You could also find us on any podcast app. All you have to do is just search for Gamertag Radio. Make sure to subscribe and follow us, or even this. Post a review. It will help us out too. All right. Now, we have a contest, a giveaway. We mentioned this already a couple times on the show. When you send us an email for fan mail, this is going to help you to enter our giveaway, because we're going to give away 2 glasses, a courtesy of Shaq Eye Gear. That's 2 glasses. So 2 winners. All you have to do is just send a question to us via email or voice message through SpeakPipe, or voicemail messages, just call, and you will get an opportunity to win a brand new glasses courtesy of Shaq Eye Gear. And remember, we have a promo code if you can't, if you don't win, promo code, which is only exclusive here on Gamertag Radio. All you have to do is just put GTR at checkout, go to shaceyegear.com. That's shaceyegear.com. Promo code GTR. Select the glass you want, buy it, and there's a couple people from our community that done that, and they love it. They love their glasses, man. So this is the opportunity to have one too. All right. Now, if you want to be part of this fan mail giveaway, courtesy of Shaq Eye Gear, this is how you could contact us.
Send us your feedback or questions. Give us a call at 786-273-7GTR. Email us at fanmail@gamertagradio.com or leave a message on speakpipe.com/gamertagradio.
All right, so yesterday I had an announcement on Twitter, also all over social media, which is a very, very important announcement and a huge announcement for those that don't follow me online. There's a company called Bright that just launched. This is from Ashton Kutcher and a couple other people that are involved with this. This is a video platform where content creators, celebs, everybody will be part of this. And we could teach people on different things. We'll have like masterclass. It will be conversation, workshop, etc. So there's people that will have like I'll talk about investment. I'm going to have I'll talk about podcasting, which I'm going to talk about it here in a few minutes. Everything about it. But it's going to be really cool. It just launched. That's brightlive.com. Make sure to check it out. brightlive.com. So the announcement that I have is, yes, I'm going to have a series exclusive here on Bright, where you could join, check it out, buy a ticket, and you could be in my session and you could ask questions. I'm going to be every session going to be different, but also I want the viewer, the person that's also got a spot, I want you to also come on stage and we have a conversation. If there's anything that you have, like any questions or comments about the topic that I have. And also, I would like to get you guys to practice. Let's practice, hosting a podcast show, etc. And I'll give you tips, everything. It's going to be amazing. So my first session is called Podcasting 101, Finding Your Voice. I'm going to have a story, very, very short story about me, how I finally found my voice, and I'm gonna play some samples of like how it was for me back in the days, and you're gonna hear the difference throughout the year when I got better and better on the mic. So, and I'm gonna give you tips about content and everything. So, yes, May 19th at 5 p.m. Pacific time. That's also 8 p.m. Eastern for those who are listening on the East Coast. This is your opportunity to learn more about podcasting. This is one of many sessions that I'm going to have exclusively on Bright. And I'm only going to have up to 95 people to join my session. And under the link, if you go to right now the description of this episode, I'm going to have two links. One is where you can get updates on when there's going to be more sessions in the future. And the other link is directly to my session. And think of it as like Zoom. You go in, you buy the ticket, and then it'll tell you to download the app. It could be for PC, Mac, or mobile. You could also buy for mobile. You could download the app for mobile, and this will be an opportunity for you to check out my session. You don't need to be home. You don't need to be on a computer. You could also use this on your phone, on your mobile device. Super, super important. Again, brightlive.com. Search for Danny Peña, or if not, go on the description on this episode of Gamer Tag Radio, and this will be an opportunity for you to check it out. Now, the reason why this is a very, very big announcement is there's a lot of people involved with this, because I'm considered as a launch partner. Also, Jennifer Lopez, Peter Moore. Remember, he used to be in the gaming industry. He's also a launch partner of this. Ronnie 2K, and NBA 2K fans out there, he's also involved with this. He's going to have a session. If you're into producing, Diplo is going to be showing how to teach how to produce music. There's going to be a lot of people. There's Ashton Kutcher is going to have a session. Madonna. Oh my God, DJ Quick. Man, the list is long. Kenny Smith is going to have his session there too, man. So Naomi Campbell, everything D Nice. It's really, really cool. And it's very inspirational, seeing this, from all the content creators involved. And I'm glad that Bright, their team over there, invited me to also be a partner, a launch partner here. And the reason why this is important to me is because now there's an opportunity for me to sit down and just focus on teaching the next generation of podcasters out there, man. So, because I get questions all the time. Danny, what I should do? Danny, what I should do this? This is your opportunity right now to buy my session, join, and let's talk. It's not all about me. I want to have a conversation with you, and we only have an hour to just talk about this. Remember, this is my first session. We're going to have more in the future. So yeah, brightlive.com. And now let's go straight to my conversation with Mandy, all about Pokemon Snap. And let me tell you, if you're a fan of Pokemon, or even if not, this is a great conversation, because look, I'm not a fan of Pokemon at all, but I learned so much about the game and about the series. So check it out. And once we come back, we have more here on Gamer Tag Radio. Stay tuned. We'll be right back after this.
You're listening to Gamer Tag Radio.
All right, so we're back here on Gamer Tag Radio, and I have a special guest here. Look, every time we talk about anything Pokemon related, I have to bring Mandy, aka Lady Duck, here on GTR. Mandy, welcome. Ooh, it's been a long time.
Every time Pokemon, you're like, I know exactly who's coming on the show.
Yeah, definitely. How's everything? It's been a while. I know you once in a while you go to Discord, talk to the community and everything. And what's up? How you been?
I feel like life's just busy for all of us, and like a weird busy, because some of us are still just like working at home. But yeah, it's also being good and like taking care of yourself and disconnecting from the internet. So I've kind of cut back on my Discord use a little bit. But no, things are going great. Continuing to, play games, have fun, knock out some of the little indies that I've been picking up. And today, because we know Pokemon.
Yes, and Mandy has been talking about Pokemon Snap for years. And look, as soon Nintendo sent me this game, I'm like, look, I'd rather give this game to someone that will appreciate this game so much and that knows the history about this, So I was like, Mandy is the perfect person to review this game.
I was so excited. As we always talk about, it's like one of those ones that's been sitting for years around. Like, when are we going to get a new Pokemon Snap? It's finally happened.
Now we have to talk, Mandy, about this game, man. It's been years. I know you played the original Pokemon Snap, right, for Nintendo 64. Yes. Tell us a little bit about the history of Pokemon Snap, and then we'll go about the game after that.
Yeah, so the original Pokemon Snap came out on the Nintendo 64 in 1999, Japan and North America, and followed shortly after into Europe. So it was, for those of you who've a little less history with Pokemon, they had put out the games on the Game Boy, so kind of the classic Pokemon RPG that everybody knew. And then in kind of like the following years, in those late 90s, they started having these additional experiences, Pokemon Stadium, Pokemon Snap, really trying different things. And Snap was unique. And I kind of I haven't done a lot of digging into this, but I feel like Pokemon Snap was really the precursor to photo modes in video games. Because I can't, in my mind, think of any other game where you're regularly taking pictures and that's kind of like the core mechanic. So the original game was that you were a photographer. You would hop on this on-rails system that they introduced, and you would go through different environments and snap pictures of the Pokemon that you would see. And as you're progressing through, you're taking your pictures back to Pokemon or to Professor Oak, and you're showing off the Pokemon that you found, and he would rate the pictures, pose, your technique, was there more Pokemon in the image and things. So this was, I felt as a child at the time, like a really great extension of the Pokemon experience. Like, I'm going to find Pokemon in the wild and take pictures of them. And now, 20 plus years later, Nintendo has finally delivered our much requested and put out new Pokemon Snap on the Nintendo Switch. And I feel like they've, to make it very high level, they've done a great job of staying kind of true to the experience that they created back in 99 and just freshened it up and made it feel new for the current system and the way people play now. But I will caveat all of this with, do not expect Pokemon Snap or new Pokemon Snap to teach you how to be a photographer.
Now, do you use this as like a motion like the motion controls for this, or can you just play it regular with just the analog sticks if you have like the Pro Controller or anything like that?
You can play it regular, so when you're going through the tutorial, it will teach you how to do everything from like the default button layout and analog sticks, and then if you want to, you can turn on the motion controls and try that way. I did it once and I was like, I can't. I don't feel like I have like a good enough what's the word, like spatial awareness to actually adjust. Like, I have the tendency to turn my whole body. It's like playing Mario Kart. You're the person that like leans to the side, your entire body when you're turning. That's me. So I use default button controls.
Okay, that's good. Now, let's talk about just the game overall for the Nintendo Switch. Is there any story? And we'll go from there, and then I'll start asking you questions.
Yeah, so there's a light story wrapping. They're introducing you to a new region, the Lentil region. You're meeting a new professor, Professor Mirror. Just make fun of all of the names that they give characters. They do a good job of pulling in some throwbacks to the original Pokemon Snap. So you'll run into some familiar characters and some familiar naming mechanics. But I think, like, overall, I like how they kind of freshened the game to feel like, I don't know, like, I'm trying to think of how to like phrase this. I'm really enjoying it. So they have this narrative wrapping. You do have kind of a little bit of a story that you're progressing, and they've introduced ways to kind of give you these fun little beats and find like hidden interactions through the collectibles system. I don't want to call it collectibles, but challenges system is probably more appropriate, where they're like, oh, I saw XYZ thing happen. You should try and snap a picture of it. And then if you do, it might kind of unlock an additional interaction. But so you're exploring, they're doing an ecological survey of this region, and part of how they're delivering that is through you visiting these different islands and taking pictures of the Pokemon. So I think that as a nerd, for a moment, I did study photography and do some photography work at one point in my life. So, you know, the caveat that don't expect this game to teach you how to do photography. It's very subjective. So there's things that you're gonna have to do to like meet objectives in the game that are a little at odds with like, oh, this would be a really great photo, but the game like scored it poorly because the game can't match like artistic, you know, opinions. But I think it works because the whole idea is like, hey, you're looking for behaviors. You want to find Pokemon doing a variety of different things. And the way that they introduce this is you have the photo decks. And when you get a picture of a Pokemon for the first time, they'll be like, hey, you saw this Pokemon for the first time. And then based on the behavior that you capture, they'll say this is a 1, 2, 3, or 4-star photo, with the idea being that a 1-star photo is a really common behavior. It's just walking around doing nothing. And a 4-star photo will be a very rare behavior, something that you'll only be able to see by kind of, you know, having been in this location a lot, building the Pokemon, having familiarity with you passing through. Maybe you gave them food, or you did something to encourage them taking an action, and eventually they showed you that behavior. So they have this, you know, scale of behavior that you're capturing, 1 to 4 stars, and then they'll actually rate you on your photo that you took to an extent of like, posing, was the Pokemon facing you? How big are they in the frame? Were there other Pokemon there? And things like that. And then on the score they give you, then gives you a scale of like bronze up to diamond. So bronze, silver, gold, and diamond are kind of like, this was, you know, diamond's your really good photo. You scored over 4,000 points. You know, bronze is like, hey, you got the Pokemon in the frame. Good job. Like what that does, long story of how they're like, you know, scoring works is that it makes it feel more like an ecological survey. So it kind of ties into that narrative that you're learning about this region. And there's a little bit more wrapping around it where they try to give you some history and what you're working towards. But it feels good in that context because even when I get like, oh, that was a really great photo that they didn't score really well, I'm like, okay, but like that wasn't what I'm trying to do here. I'm trying to like study the region and the Pokemon that are here.
Yeah, I was going to ask, like, is this something like where you could go to a location day or night, maybe the weather, and that's how you could find those like rare Pokemons based on that? Or this is just like, just walk around randomly, something will pop up? Is it how that works?
So it's
look, I'm a newbie.
No. It's a little both. So as a reminder, it's on rails. So at the very beginning, they'll say, hey, you're on one of 4 islands that they identify, 4 regions, and you're going to go to the park during the day. And you're on a rail system, so it's taking you on a specific path, and Pokemon will pop up randomly on that path. But what you're doing is, as you go to these different routes and these different locations and get photos, that score that you get from taking photos is going to add up. Your experience level increases, and you have the potential to open additional times of day. So I can now go to the park after I leveled up at night, which means there will now be some of the same, but some different Pokemon. And then as you also level, that kind of ties into this idea that the area you're in, the Pokemon you're seeing are starting to have familiarity with you passing through, and new Pokemon might appear. or you might see different behaviors and things. So it really, from like a gameplay standpoint, it builds in this idea of replayability that way, in the sense that you're like, okay, well, I might have to take a couple of trips to this location to get enough experience to level up. But each time I have the opportunity to potentially see different Pokemon doing different behaviors. In all honesty, some of them are like, okay, like I know exactly what's going to happen at this part of the route. But it's a bit like real life in the context that like you can look 360 degrees. So if I'm looking to my left, there might be something happening on my right that I completely miss. And then I happen to like pan across after I finish getting the photo I wanted and suddenly see the tail of a Pokemon walking into the woods and go, oh no, I missed something. And you're like, okay, cool. Well, guess what? I'm going to have to come back. But next time I'm going to look to that side instead. Mm-hmm. So I will say, like, one of the things is that I enjoy about this game is it's very low pressure, in the context that it's not like something has to happen immediately and you haven't ruined a run or a route in the photos you're taking if you miss something. It's just like, cool, I'll just like do this again later. And then I'll get those photos that I missed, or the Pokemon that I'm like, oh, that was a really bad shot, I'll get better later. And so like it's like a nice calming sort of pace where you're not really like, oh no, like action, things are happening, I have to react right now.
Is this also based on sound too?
Yes.
Like when you're walking, you hear maybe a sound of the Pokemon or something that gives you hints that they're nearby?
Yes. So you're in they call it the Neo one. It's like this little floating thing that you're sitting in and going through the areas. And you'll have that where you might hear a Pokemon making noise in the distance. Maybe they're in a tree and you can't see them. Maybe they're like one of them is one that's very much like a woodpecker. So you'll hear it, but you're like, all right, well, I'm surrounded by trees. Which tree are they? So there's going to be a combination that, some of it will be a little more obvious. They'll end up within your field of view, or they'll cross your path. And other ones are, you hear it, it's there, and you just got to kind of figure out and take action. So they do have a couple of tools very similar to the original Pokemon Snap, named differently, updated for, the times, but you'll get the fluff fruit, which is food that you can throw out, which might, draw a Pokemon out of like some bushes. Like, they're there, but you can't get a good photo. Throw a fluff fruit out and maybe they'll walk out and eat it. Or you can just chuck it at one and surprise them and like bop them with it, which sounds kind of mean, but like it works for things. You'll eventually unlock the ability to like play a little tune, which could wake up a Pokemon, or they might decide to do something silly like dancing. So sound design absolutely plays an element into it. You'll have different sounds, different backgrounds, whether it's day, night, whether you're in the desert, in the forest, at the beach, like all of those are going to kind of tie in. You'll recognize maybe some of the Pokemon you hear, maybe you won't.
Yeah. So was there any difficult Pokemon experience for you to capture those pictures, and why they were so difficult too?
Yes. So I think that there's like two things I'll throw out as being difficult. One of them is the challenges that they introduce. So as you progress to like different locations, day and night, things like that, other characters that are part of your survey group might be like, oh, I saw this. You should totally try to get a picture of it. And some of them aren't well explained. So I'm like, how do I get a Pokemon to do X? Or I need them to do something. How do I get them to do this something that hasn't been well explained? And then the flip side of it is me just like not connecting the dots. So there's one where they're like, you need to be able to like get a picture of this Pokemon with Crystal Bloom illumination effect. And I'm like, okay, cool. Went through it like 3 times and was like, what am I doing wrong? And then I'm like, the very beginning of the 4th time, if you're paying attention to like the characters talking to you and little things popping up, they're like, oh, you should throw some food to it. Like, oh, so I just wasn't listening is what happened here.
Yeah. That's cool though.
So I think that like there might be some places where people get frustrated or have some difficulty because something doesn't feel very well explained. And I think we're kind of used to games being very direct, like do X, Y, and Z. And while it's slightly frustrating, I think it again leans into the idea that like you're a photographer, maybe you don't know how to get the end result. So it's a little bit about how you kind of experiment with throwing food, playing music, and the other ways that you would try to kind of impact a wild creature in the world to react to you. And which is funny because it's frustrating for me, but it's also like, oh, okay, cool. This just means I need to get creative.
Yeah. Now, is there any multiplayer or co-op features here? This is strictly single player?
Strictly single player. The one thing I will say that they have is they do have this kind of little, I don't want to say like online, but mini online thing where they're like, oh, you can go to the internet. The Nintendo version of the internet where like they'll spotlight photo, like you can upload a photo for people to see. They do have, when you take photos, besides you trying to complete your photo decks, which is, your complete recording of all the Pokemon in their 4 different levels of like behavior. There's also, you just have the ability to save photos. Like, oh, this is a really cool photo. So they have this option kind of at the end. You can go to all of the photos you took. You can say, I want to save this. I want to resnap it, which lets you kind of adjust very photo mode. You can't do a full 360, but you can like zoom in, zoom out, apply some filters, throw some stickers and a frame on it. And then if you'd like to, you can upload it to the internet.
Nintendo style.
And then people can see this photo. And then if they're like, oh, this is cool, they give out these little like sweet medals that you can give. And the other thing that will happen occasionally is Professor Mirror might take a photo and say, oh, this one's great. I'm going to post it up for you. So there's like a little bit of this social interaction, very, very Nintendo in that it's relatively limited. But you can go and see like what's the spotlighted route for the day that people are posting photos from. What is, the trending thing? Did people give sweet medals to the photo I put up? And you can also just see your ranking based on your total score for all of the photo points you have in your photo decks.
Now, has this been worth the wait for you as a fan of Pokemon Snap? And why?
I feel like in a different way, for a moment to say, like, remember, the original came out in 99. It's been more than 20 years. I was a child. So for there is this really, another way to interact with Pokemon. Now as an adult, like, it's still that, and there's definitely a lot of fun little throwbacks to the original where I'm like, oh, look at what they did there. That was great, which is fun. And then I think that I like it because it is an opportunity, similar to as a child, to like do something fun that I enjoy with a game and a brand and the characters, because Pokemon for me is just like all of the different types of Pokemon. And oh, that one's super cute and that one's kind of scary. It all works together in a way where I'm like, yeah, you know what? It came out on the 30th. Today is the 5th. My Switch is still saying you first played this like 5 days ago, but I'm pretty sure I'm somewhere in that like 15 to 20 hour range already.
That's good.
And I haven't wrapped up the entire like storyline. But I'm enjoying the structure. I like the slower pace. I like going back and actually like trying to get better photos of Pokemon I already have, trying to get new Pokemon that I missed. Like, I like it. And I feel like it's a nice tribute to what the original Pokemon Snap was.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like a game that is stressful, because sometimes when I play the old Pokemon games, it was, to me, because I'm again not an expert of the game at all, but it felt very random. Sometimes like, oh, catch a Pokemon, sometimes not. Maybe I'm throwing something that is not the way how to capture that. Like it was like too much for me. And then sometimes I'll get really frustrated. I'm like, you know what? I'd rather not play this at all. I even tried the Pokemon Go, the mobile app, which I played that. I think that was the longest game, a Pokemon game that I played in my life ever. Was that
just
one.
checking in on Pokemon Go like every day.
Yeah. Yeah, but it was cool because you know me, I love going out, I love exploring, I love meeting new people. And we'll go to like a friend of mine, we went to Central Park and she was like, oh my God, there's a battle going on. Right? Let's go over there right now. Like, we only have like a couple minutes. We have to go there and capture. I don't know. I forgot what it was, but
you were doing a raid probably. And
a raid. That's what it was. Yeah, a raid. So that was fun to me. But it wasn't complicated. It wasn't, but this game sounds like it's just a new way, very relaxing. It's not stressful, right?
And that's what I like about it is unless you're really putting stress on yourself in the context of like, oh, I have to, we got to this moment and I'm going to go try and get this specific Pokemon. Like, sure, maybe that. But overall, like, it's definitely a slower paced game. And the lack of stress, like, there might be moments. So, for example, one of the challenges is you need to get one of the bird Pokemon while it's diving into the water. Like, that's a couple split seconds of you being pointed in the right direction getting it. Like, yeah, sure. Like, maybe for a split second, I'm like, oh no. And then hilariously enough, I literally got like a feather in the corner because I wasn't fast enough to get it. So I missed the actual dive and barely got any of it. And the rest of it was water. And they're like, yeah, this counts. Like, you're not going to get a great score, but this counts. And like, it's forgiving in that sense. And so like it's literally been, full disclosure, like last week was a stressful week. And it was really nice this weekend to just sit down and be like, yeah, I'm just going to snap some photos of Pokemon. Like, this is what I'm going to do. And I'm enjoying it. Like, this is nice. Now, it's not for everyone. If you're really into like hardcore, you want like the Pokemon RPG, you want this battle mechanic, like that's not what this is. And if you feel really strongly about like photography and correct photography things, maybe this won't be for you either. But I think that it is, to your point, it's not stressful. It wasn't for me, at least. And I found the kind of light way that they address it, like, yeah, cool. Like, it's not putting pressure on you to be like, you have to do X, Y, Z to move things along. I'm actually in like this nice little loop where I'm just kind of going to each of the locations and going through the routes a few times and snapping some more photos and leveling up. And eventually maybe I'll like actually put forth effort to move this along.
This is Gamertag Radio. Voicemail at 786-2737-GTR.
All right, let's talk about our sponsor here on Gamertag Radio, and that's Magic Spoon. Now, listeners, do you remember growing up, waking up early in the morning, you get your cereal, especially as a kid, Saturday mornings, and it was delicious, right? Guess what, guys? I had to give it up. I realized through time that all that stuff that we were eating, especially me back in the days, it was full of sugar. And it was not good for you. We shouldn't be eating that type of stuff, man. I've been trying to cut down on carbs, sugar, and unhealthy food and realize I basically can't eat that stuff anymore, man. So the thing that I've been doing lately is walking. LA, also recently in Miami when I went to visit. And I'm trying to eat better. But healthy breakfast doesn't have to be boring. Magic Spoon has been amazing because it has flavors that not only that I love, that you will love too, but without all that bad stuff. Now, I had this conversation with Paris because he also been eating Magic Spoon, and it's amazing. Look, this has 0 grams of sugar, 13 through 14 grams of protein, and only 4 net grams of carbs in each serving, only 140 calories a serving. Now, this is gluten-free, grain-free, soy-free, and low carbs. Now, one thing that I do like about the flavors is they have 4. There's cocoa, fruity, frosted, and my favorite, peanut butter. Now, GTR, this is your opportunity right now. This is your opportunity to go to magicspoon.com/GTR. That's magicspoon.com/GTR to grab a variety pack and try today. And be sure to use our promo code GTR checkout to save $5 of your order. And Magic Spoon is so confident in their product, it's backed with 100% happiness guarantee. So let's say you don't like it for any reason, you don't like it at all, they will refund your money, no questions asked. Remember, get your next delicious bowl of guilt-free cereal at magicspoon.com/GTR and use promo code GTR to save $5 off of your order. All right, thank you so much to Magic Spoon for sponsoring this episode of Gamer Tag Radio.
You're listening to Gamer Tag Radio.
Do you prefer to play this on the TV or on the go, on like handheld mode?
This one I actually like on the TV. And it's because I feel like because you have that 360-degree movement when you're taking photos, that I'm processing what I see a little bit faster on the bigger screen. When I'm on the go, I get really focused because it's a smaller screen on like one portion, like, oh, I'm doing this. And then it doesn't have like the same degree of you like catching something out of your peripheral because there is no peripheral. It's literally right in front of you.
Yep. No, that's good to know. Good to know. Now, Mandy, I know you said game is not for everyone, but if there's people that are listening and they're curious to buy this game and they're kind of like, should I just wait? Why they should check it out?
I think definitely it's one of those where if you like Pokemon, but maybe you weren't around or didn't do Pokemon Snap the first time, if you are looking for something that's a little lighter paced, less stressful, not going to put a lot of pressure on you, you're not, I was trying to play Neo 2 the other day and I was like, I'm going to fight, I'm going to die, oh no. Like, looking for something a little different than that, I absolutely think that this is a game you can check out. It is, it's a Nintendo game, so it's the full $60. I don't believe that a demo is available, but I do know that they have a lot of, the storefront has a number of videos that I feel like are good. They're still like marketing trailers, but they're still a good representation of kind of what you can expect to get. So I definitely think, if you're not sure, go check it out. From that side, I've seen a bunch of people, to your point, a bunch of our friends are playing it. A number of them are streaming it. Like, I don't feel like there's anything that's going to really be, oh no, like this is a really hidden story. There's going to be giant spoilers. You're not going to have anything work against you if you decide to go quickly watch a little bit of a stream just to see what the experience is. I'm obviously biased. I loved Pokemon Snap originally. I'm really enjoying new Pokemon Snap. And as we all know, I'm a big Pokemon fan. But I think that if you are looking for something that like you can be relaxed and the game's not going to judge you for getting a bad photo. I'll give
so it's like Animal Crossing.
It's like Animal
relaxing.
Crossing. Like they're not going to insult you. They'll just be like, oh, you could have framed this a little better. And like, all right, cool. But here's still your 1,000 points. Keep at it. You're like, all right, great, thanks.
Yeah, I wonder if they're going to add like more DLC in this game, like more downloadable content in the future. Do you think so? I
feel like it would work really well. In the context of like the whole idea that it's an ecological survey, like you could totally be like, yeah, hey, we totally just in our exploration came across an additional island that we didn't realize was there. So I think they could, and I think like the style of it allows, and for all the Pokemon fans, we know there's so many Pokemon now that there's no way all of them are in the base game. So they have plenty of content they could pull from. I hope that they consider doing some DLC, but as we know, it's our default phrase for everything. It's Nintendo. Sometimes it makes no sense.
Yep. Now, have you been streaming this at all?
I
At
have
all?
not yet.
Okay.
But I probably you can expect I'll be streaming this. I think I really wanted to get a feel for it, and I wanted to be able to kind of like have that when you're playing and you're not thinking about, hey, am I keeping up with my chat, or what are people thinking of my reaction? I kind of like just wanted to play and enjoy it like that first pass through. But I think I've done enough now that I'm probably going to be streaming it soon.
Good. Well, mention your stream,
yeah,
your URL, because people want to check it out. They want to follow you also.
Yeah, so the classic, promo yourself moment. So for those of you who aren't familiar with me, my name is Mandy. I also go by LadyLuck34. You can find me under that tag on both Twitch and Twitter. I do talk about Pokemon a lot on my Twitter, but I also talk about a lot of other things. So like full disclosure. So you can find me on both of those. As we mentioned a little bit earlier, I also randomly appear in the GTR Discord. So you can also feel free to ping me there. But, all the games, all the time, play many things, enjoy what you play, enjoy whatever you want to play.
Exactly. No, Mandy, I just want to say, thanks for, as a person that don't play Pokemon, it was great conversation, to have with you about the game, and I'm glad that it made you smile during your stressful week. The game was there available, and you're like, you know what? I'm taking a break from Call of Duty. Let me play Pokemon. Let me play.
It was actually so exciting to be like, oh wait, that's right, and then to like have that to look forward to, and then play a lot of the weekend. And you all can't tell, but we're definitely. I've really enjoyed it. It's been like fun little things that made my day and made me laugh, and like me figuring out like, oh, I need to like share some of these. But I was like, I want to experience it first. And of course, the one moment, because as I think we mentioned it there earlier, but just to be full disclosure, a review code was provided by Nintendo for this game. So want to make sure that we're acknowledging it is a PR copy. But yeah, I mean, I was going to buy it regardless. So, take that with the grain of salt that it is. But it's been a really nice break because I've been playing like Outriders and Call of Duty and a lot of really hardcore games. And this was like a nice relaxed.
Yep. All right. Well, everyone, make sure to follow Mandy on Twitter. Please follow her also on Twitch, because she's always streaming there. Actually, she's been playing Warzone. She's actually pretty good. Sometimes I go in to see what she's doing. I'm like, oh, okay. Her and Dave are kicking butt. I see.
So you weren't there the night that I wasn't streaming that night. It was great. Okay. So I will call myself out for a moment. So I definitely carried this team through a firefight and took out like 6 people and was like, yeah, I'm on it. And then 2 minutes later, I was like, I want to take out this helicopter with an RPG. Missed with 6 rockets. And they're just standing there going like, well, thanks for giving away our position like more than once. Like you literally just carried the team through a firefight with multiple teams. And then you turned around and just fired rockets uselessly into the sky. Mediocre tier gameplay, but you can show up. Funny things might happen.
Yeah, exactly. Now, everyone, make sure to follow her. And Mandy, I just want to say thanks. It was a great conversation about Pokemon Snap and for Nintendo Switch. Available now. Thanks.
Thank you.
This is Gamertag Radio. Voicemail at 786-2737-GTR.
All right, and that was my conversation with Mandy all about Pokemon Snap. Again, this was an amazing conversation with her, man, because, I haven't really been playing Pokemon in the past. Like, the only thing I played was, like, Pokemon Go mobile. That's, like, the most I ever played, ever. And it was fun. It was a lot of fun. And, when I heard about Pokemon Snap coming out, the first person I thought about was Mandy. I'm like, no, she has to review this game because I know how much this game means to her. So it was good for her for us to like talk about it and everything here on Gamer Tech Radio. And please, for those that listen, let me know like your thoughts. If there's any questions or anything, we definitely will do like an update, an episode, and we'll bring her back and maybe she can answer some of the questions about Pokemon Snap, man. So shout out to Nintendo for sending the code, man. That was so much fun, man. Thanks, Mandy. Make sure to follow her on Twitter, LadyLuck34, or you could also find her on Twitch. She streams there a lot, so make sure to support her and hit her up on Discord if you ever get the chance. All right, so everyone, we're going to wrap it up here. Now, remember, we have a giveaway courtesy of Shaq Eye Gear, 2 brand new glasses. We're going to send it to y'all, and all you have to do is just send us an email question or voicemail for fan mail, and this will be an opportunity for you to enter our giveaway. We only have a couple days because I'm going to announce the winner next week, Thursday. Next week, Thursday, I will announce the winner. All right? Now, head over to gamertagradio.com, post your comments and feedback, and listen to our past episodes. Make sure to share the podcast to your friends and family members. It will help us out so much. Also, you can find us on any podcast app. Just search for Gamertag Radio. Follow us, subscribe, and post your review. Now, if you would like to be part of our family discussion or episode and also enter our giveaway, this is how you could contact us.
Send us your feedback or questions. Give us a call at 786-273-7GTR. Email us at fanmail@gamertagradio.com or leave a message on speakpipe.com/gamertagradio.
All right, we're going to wrap it up here. Thank you for listening to Gamertag Radio. Until next time, this is Danny Peña. See you next week. On Monday, we have a brand new episode. There you go. I'm out. Take care.
Thanks for listening to Gamertag Radio. Be sure to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.